Welcome back. I am your host. I am attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560. The Answer. And that guy who just talked, that's my nephew, Jimmy Leahy.
Hello, and that is true. I am his nephew, but I am also the co-host, and I am also his very good friend. If you caught the first segment, you would understand.
It is
now,
true.
ladies and gentlemen, it's the blog. It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
Love that music.
Old-timey.
Old-timing man. Oh, you old-timing man. Okay, so this week I'm going to talk about people who are 1099 employees, or if you run your own business. Now, in the last couple of months, I've talked about cascading tax problems. Haven't I talked about that, Jim?
Yes, you have.
Cascading tax problems, and that's
what else do we have to know about cascading?
Well, this one your tax problems never seem to go away because they reoccur every year. That's one of the definitions.
Sail away.
That's what. Jim's in his own little world.
I am not. I am on planet Earth. If you'll excuse me, I'm making a tinfoil hat.
I understand. Oh, you're a Bernie supporter.
Yes, I am. No, I am not, ladies and gentlemen. I am joking.
Okay,
I am not. I'm joking. Okay. I just want to clarify.
I also wanted to mention that if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work because I have a guy. I got a guy. And you should give him a call. I had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. His name was Jim Marisi, and he helps people who are injured on the job or in a car accident or anywhere else where somebody's responsible for your injury. If that happens to you, give me a call at 312-664-6649, and I'll put you in touch with him. Jim's a great guy. Some years ago, I needed a lawyer, and I called Jim Marisi, and you could too. So again, if you get hurt on the job or if you know someone gets hurt, give me a call, and I'll put you in touch with Jim. Now, this week, again, I'm talking about cascading tax problems. So, again, if I'm a 1099 employee or I have my own business, and what happens is I owe the IRS at the end of the year. So I do my taxes at the end of the year. I haven't paid quarterly like I'm supposed to, right? I'm supposed to pay quarterly. Yeah. But most
doesn't that
don't.
Come out of a trust?
No,
usually when you, for businesses, if you own a business, you're supposed to have a trust set up, and
you're supposed to pay quarterly, right? So depending on what my taxes were last year. So if my taxes, if I owed the IRS $12,000 last year, and then this year I'm supposed to pay them every 3 months, I'm supposed to pay them $3,000. And so by the end of the year, when I do my taxes for that year, I've already paid them. They've already paid the IRS, and so when I do my taxes, I report it, and I said, well, I've already given you $12,000. I owe you $12,000 again. Maybe this year I only owe you $11,000, and so you give me $1,000 back. I get a refund. Or maybe I owed $13,000, and I pay another $1,000, and then I work that out for the next year. I have to pay a little bit more than $3,000 a quarter. But what happens to people who are in 1099 is they don't do that because they need all the money that they get. Whenever you get it in your hands, you spend it, and then you don't have the money at the end of the year. And then again, so now you've been fighting the IRS for last year because you owed for last year, and now a new year comes in and you do your tax return, and guess what? You owe again. So now I can't fix last year's problem because I'm working on this year's problem, and now my problem starts growing and growing and growing.
It sounds like a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, and this is the roller coaster or the treadmill that people get on. Right, because they never get off.
I don't know what a treadmill is.
Obviously.
You're Debbie laughing over there.
I think that's the first time I ever heard Debbie
I like through the glass. That was...
Anyway, the treadmill, because it never ends. Your tax problem never ends. So one way to do this, and I recommend this to a lot of my clients, is start a business. So if I'm a 1099 employee, I can start my own business, right? Another bad part about being a 1099 employee when I'm a sole proprietor is I got to pay a self-employment tax. And so that's even more money I'm going to owe. So now it comes to the end of the year. I'm supposed to pay. I don't have the money. Again, keeps growing every year. Now I owe, and then the IRS gets mad because they call this you keep kicking the can down the road and you never solve it. That's not what they call it, but that's what I call it.
Yeah, that's the technical term, kicking the can down the road.
So anyway, one way to get off of that is to start a business. So if I'm in, I don't know, who's a good 1099? So if I'm a carpenter and I do a lot of 1099 work for construction companies, and maybe I only work for one construction company and I do most of my work with them, and they pay me 1099. So at the end of the year, I got to pay my taxes. Well, maybe I start a carpenter company and I incorporate or maybe create an LLC. Now, which one's right for you? That depends on what you're trying to do. Most people can do an LLC, which is called a limited liability company, or a corporation subchapter S. And I don't want to get too.
Whoa!
I know I don't want to get too technical.
I am sleepy.
But both of these are both of these are billed at, you're taxed as a partnership or as a single person. So the money flows through the company to you personally, and then you pay taxes on it personally. But it's
like a waterfall.
So then what you do is you start this business, and then you hire yourself a payroll company. Now next week I'm going to have a payroll company guy in here. You might have heard of him. His name is Tom Sadeka from Precision Payroll, and he's going to come in and join us, and we're going to talk about payroll companies and what they offer and why that's a good thing. But I recommend this to a lot of my clients, even before I knew Tom Sadeka, and I would tell my clients to do this. You got to start this business, and then again, what happens is you put the money into the account. Now, you never see it, just like a regular employee, right? If I'm a W-2 employee, I never see the taxes. It comes right out of my check. So I don't get it to spend it. It's already been sent to the IRS. So that's what a payroll tax company can do for you, and that's why it's a good idea to do that. Also, if I have an IRS problem, to show the IRS I've solved that cascading problem, it's going to be easier for me to come up with a solution for the problem that I have. Okay, so if I'm trying to fix my IRS problem from last year, and then I owe again this year, and then the IRS is going to say, well, you're going to owe again next year. So how are you going to stop that? Well, this is one way to stop that and to show the IRS, here, I found a solution so I don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it can be very beneficial for you to try to come up with a solution to the IRS problem.
Of course.
And so I recommend highly that you start this. Now again, at the end of the year, you're going to get a W-2 from your own company. If there's anything left, then you get that payout. You get that payout to you personally. You get the money. You won't have to pay payroll taxes on that money, and so it probably save you a lot of money in taxes and save you the headache. So it's a huge benefit.
I think the headache is the most benefit out of that whole thing.
Oh, I agree.
It might save you a little bit of money, but let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, why deal with? It's like kind of taking care of your own tax problem. Why go through that hassle when you can have somebody go to bat for you?
Well, what I found
who's a trusted professional.
What I found is when people try to fix their own tax problem, the solution they get is not much of a solution, not very good. Okay, because the IRS is really driving how it's going to be solved, and they're not going to help you. They don't want to come up with a good solution for you. They want a good solution for them. Right? You want a good solution for you. That's why you get somebody to help you. And usually, when people hire me, we're going to come up with a solution that you can live with. Well, if you try to do it yourself, what happens is the IRS comes up with this number that you have to pay every month, and that number is going to be much more than you can pay. And you're going to set up a payment plan, and you're going to try to do one payment or two payments, and then it's going to fail, and you're going to be right back where you were. Okay, so don't do that. Call me. I help a lot of people. You don't have to make millions of dollars or lots of money to hire a lawyer in this kind of situation. A lot of times a lawyer can save you more than it'll cost you. Now, I'm not promising that. Sometimes just the headache that you save is worth the money that you pay for.
Again, as we just said,
I agree with that.
Why go through that? So that's good to know. I mean, again, if you need anything, ladies and gentlemen, along those lines, this is the guy to go to. As you can see, Stephen Leahy, trusted professional, local Chicago attorney. Let's say that one more time together. Local Chicago attorney.
So anyway, I'm going to give you Precision Payroll. Their phone number is 630-887-3156. Again, it's 630-887-3156. So if you have your own company, if you're a 1099 employee, set up yourself as an employee. Get a payroll company to help you. It makes it a lot easier, and that's what I recommend. So that's what this segment was all about.
Well, that was a very helpful segment. And ladies and gentlemen, if you need somebody to help you with your IRS-related issues, there's only one local Chicago attorney that can help you, and that's Stephen Leahy with Open Tax Resolution. 312-664-6649. Visit them on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. There's a video of me on there. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Mr. Know-It-All and the IRS saga is coming up right after the break here on AM 560.
The Answer.